Akira.
Question I guess it keeps coming up to me was, what are we supposed to do?
Well, I keep saying, de-emphasize anxiety. Reassure people. You meet people who say, I'm really scared. I'm scared about my job. I'm scared. You're scared. It's just, don't worry. You don't know enough to worry. That's God's truth. Worry. Who do you think you are that you should worry, for crying out loud? Don't worry. That's God's truth. It's a total waste of time. It presupposes such a knowledge of the situation that it is in fact a form of hubris. Now what you do is just pay your bills and, pack heat if you need to, and don't worry. That's all. Yes. Worry is praying to the devil. That's great. Worry is betting against yourself. Wi Po Yang, a great Chinese Taoist who wrote many, many commentaries on the I Ching. He was asked at the end of his life what was his conclusion of a life of studying the I Ching. He said, worry is preposterous. That was it. Don't worry. You don't know enough to worry. That's God's truth. Worry. Who do you think you are that you should worry, for crying out loud? Don't worry. That's God's truth. Worry. You don't know enough to worry. That's God's truth. Worry. Who do you think you are that you should worry, for crying out loud? Don't worry. That's God's truth. Worry is preposterous. Don't worry. Worry is preposterous. Don't worry. Worry is preposterous. Worry is preposterous. Don't worry. Worry is preposterous. Worry is preposterous. Don't worry. That's God's truth. That's God's truth.
I tell you, it is preposterous.
There's times where you're gonna have to do it alone. There's not gonna be any team support. There's not gonna be any family support. There's not gonna be any friend support. There's gonna be times where you've got to go and do it yourself, when you gotta do it alone. And those are the times that make a difference. Those are the times that count. Those are the times where you have to dig deep yourself and get the job done. And if you can make that happen, you will win. And if you can make that happen, you will win. There's times where you're gonna have to do it alone. There's times where you're gonna have to do it alone. Let's think about those attributes that a warrior is supposed to have. discipline in your bloodstream. These are choices that you make. You choose to be courageous. You choose to have confidence. And most important, you make the choice to be disciplined, to have self-discipline. You make the choice to be disciplined, to have self-discipline. There's times where you're gonna have to do it alone. There's times where you're gonna have to do it alone. So make the right choice by getting up every day and getting after it.
History is just a 25,000-year dash from the trees to the starship. History is just a 25,000-year dash from the trees to the starship. And while it's going on, it's wild and woolly. But it only lasts like that. And then you're in the starship. 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 Because we are like bacteria or something in the shortness of our lifespan. To us, 25,000 years, you can get lost in the middle of that and you can't see either end. But from the point of view of a species, it's just instantaneous. History is just a 25,000-year dash from the trees to the starship. History is just a 25,000-year dash from the trees to the starship. 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 You know, this thing happened 65 million years ago. A very large object collided with the Earth. Everything on this planet, larger than a chicken, died. Some people think in a single moment. But what's peculiar is there appears to have been a major dieback of species underway before the impact. That in the million years preceding the impact, there was some kind of echo crisis on the planet. And then this asteroid struck. You know, the dinosaurs that we find are the lumbering, enormous ones, but it's always agreed that there were a vast number of small-boned, gray seal dinosaurs that were much smaller. Is it possible There was a breakout of intelligence. Is it possible that there was an intelligent species of a reptilian sort that was actually evolving a technical civilization, which then caused this dieback of species? History is just a 25,000-year dash from the trees to the starship. History is just a 25,000-year dash from the trees to the starship. 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 Whenever you have intelligent life in the presence of large explosions, a safe bet is that the intelligent life is responsible for the large explosions. It may be that there was war in heaven 60 million years ago.
Akira. Let's go. One thing I want to say is, one thing I want to say is, don't be fooled by the internet. Don't be fooled by the internet. It's cool to get on the computer, but don't let the computer get on you. Cool to use the computer, don't let the computer use you. You all saw the Matrix. You all saw the Matrix. There's a war going on. Battlefields in the mind. The prize is the soul. The prize is the soul. The prize is the soul. There's a war going on. Battlefields in the mind. The prize is the soul. The prize is the soul. The prize is the soul. There's a war going on. Battlefields in the mind. The prize is the soul. The prize is the soul. The prize is the soul. There's a war going on. Battlefields in the mind. The prize is the soul. The prize is the soul. The prize is the soul. Be careful. Be careful. Be careful. Be careful.
something is a sure way to blind yourself. It was not growing up that slowly applied the brakes to learning, but an accumulation
of things I know. Things I know. It was not growing up that slowly applied the brakes to learning, but an accumulation of things I know. Above all else, the mentat must be a generalist, not a specialist. It is wise to have decisions of great moment monitored by generalists. Experts and specialists lead you quickly into chaos. They are a source of useless nitpicking, the ferocious quibble over a comma. The mentat generalist, on the other hand, should bring to decision-making a healthy common sense. He must not cut himself off from the broad sweep of what is happening in his universe. He must remain capable of saying, "There's no real mystery about this at the moment. This is what we want now. It may prove wrong later, but we'll correct that when we come to it." Thinking you knew something is a sure way to blind yourself. Thinking you knew something is a sure way to blind yourself. It was not growing up that slowly applied the brakes to learning, but an accumulation of things I know. Things I know. It was not growing up that slowly applied the brakes to learning, but an accumulation of things I know. The generalist must understand that anything which we can identify as our universe is merely part of larger phenomena. But the expert looks backward. He looks into the narrow standards of his own specialty. The generalist looks outward. He looks for living principles, knowing full well that such principles change, that they develop. It is to the characteristics of change itself that the mentat generalist must look. There can be no permanent catalog of such change, no handbook or manual. You must look at it with as few preconceptions as possible, asking yourself, "Now what is this thing doing?" Thinking you knew something is a sure way to blind yourself. Thinking you knew something is a sure way to blind yourself. It was not growing up that slowly applied the brakes to learning, but an accumulation of things I know. Things I know. It was not growing up that slowly applied the brakes to learning, but an accumulation of things I know. I set my mind in motion. It is by the juice of saffron that thoughts acquire speed, lips acquire stains, the stains become a warning. It is by will alone I set my mind in motion. It is by will alone I set my mind in motion. It is by the juice of saffron that thoughts acquire speed, lips acquire stains, the stains become a warning. It is by will alone I set my mind in motion.
Are you happy? It's a difficult question. I'm not searching for happiness. I'm searching for peace. I'm searching for peace. Akira. My state of what I'm aiming for, I would say it is peace. If there's happiness, there is sadness. If something can rise, something must fall. If you can attain something, there's something to lose. That's why it's difficult. That's why I stop the moment. I don't know what type of
must not fear. Fear is the mind killer. I must not fear. Fear is the mind killer. I must not fear. Fear is the mind killer. Fear is the little death that brings total obliteration. I will face my fear. I will permit it to pass over me and through me. And when it is gone past, I will turn the inner eye to see its path. Where the fear has gone, there will be nothing. Only I will remain. I must not fear. Fear is the mind killer. Fear is the little death that brings total obliteration. I will face my fear. I will permit it to pass over me and through me. And when it has gone past, I will turn. Governments, if they endure, always tend increasingly towards aristocratic forms. No government in history has been known to evade this pattern. And as the aristocracy develops, government tends more and more to act exclusively in the interests of the ruling class.
I was
Whether
looking
that
at my
class
left
be
hand and I
hereditary
was like,
royalty,
I don't have time to
oligarchs of
digest that
financial
for later.
empires, or entrenched bureaucracy,
I
all
got it
governments
hooked up
suffer
to
a
internet from
reoccurring
my
problem.
phone.
Power
And it's on
attracts
YouTube right
pathological
now.
personalities.
Playing songs
It is not that power
that are
corrupts,
remix
but that
speeches
it is
from Doom.
magnetic to the corruptible.
Remember Doom?
Such people have a tendency to become drunk on
Frank
violence,
And
a
I made
condition
new
to which
movies.
they are quickly addicted.
The new movies are really
No
good.
government,
I thought the first one was better than the
no
second.
government,
Yeah, I mean,
trust
they're always going to
no
be like that,
government,
but and then it's such a dense
trust no
material
government.
that trying to make
There
a visual
exists a limit to
representation
the
of the
force
book is
even the most
puzzling.
powerful may
Because they
apply
can
without
never match the
destroying
book.
themselves.
It's so, and that one
Judging
especially,
this limit
the
is the
author
true
studied
artistry of
psychology,
government.
religion, you know, ecology,
Misuse of power is
war,
the fatal
and
sin.
all of these things and wrote
The
this
law
incredible
cannot
book.
be a tool of
Like
vengeance,
and George
never a
Lucas sort of ripped
hostage,
it off, you know,
nor
like
fortification
Star
against the
Wars is
martyrs
kind
it
of
has
like a rip off
created.
of Doom, really.
You cannot threaten any individual and escape the
I'd never heard that
consequences.
before, but I can see it.
Good government
I
never
think he read
depends
Doom
upon
before
laws, but upon the
George Lucas
personal
made Star
qualities
Wars, right?
of
And
those
they
who govern.
Absolutely.
They start off on the
Trust
desert
no
planet,
government.
you know, like,
Well, they don't start off on those things.
yeah, that's true.
No government.
They wound up, the emperor sent them to
No
run.
government.
Yeah.
The machinery of government is
It's a
always
bigger scale
subordinate to the
than
will of those
Star
who
Wars is
administer
more
that
individual
machinery.
at first.
The most important element of government,
I read
therefore,
Doom, I reread
is the method of choosing
in
leaders.
Syria, and it was
We should
awesome.
grant
It really
power
kicked me
over
out.
our
I had a
affairs
great time
only to
reading that
those who
book.
are
It's like,
reluctant to
I'd be
hold it,
reading and I look up and be like,
and
yeah, you
then
got a lot
only
of
under
details right.
conditions that increase the reluctance.
Including the underground cities that like
Trust
people
no
don't know about.
government.
And they're finding
Trust
out
no
that Iran,
government.
I've been trying to tell people for years, the
Trust
Kurds are
no
going to be okay.
government.
They've got underground tunnel cities.
No government.
They've got anti-aircraft guns on railroad tracks that they can pop up from under a barn and flip the roof over and shoot down a jet and then drop it and slide it down the city and pop it up somewhere else and do it again. And people just don't get that scale of like underground tunnels.
Switzerland did it.
If there is no enemy, one must be invented. The military force which is denied an external target always turns against its own.
So they're not just like full of people stolen gold. It's also like whole cities.
They are neutral, but at the same time, they are prepared for,
Yeah.
you know, bad times.
What's happening now?
Well, let's
Everybody
just say
says
when
that.
the shit truly starts,
Yeah.
there's a good chance. Well, there's a chance they may be left alone because there's a lot of money wrapped up in
The
those
fact that
slick
the knife is
packages.
trapped in.
It's just a matter of can you practically convert that money into material resources during an emergency,
utter their best poetry.
or are you going to be wiping your butt with some fancy paper?
Well, you know, at the end of World War One, that's all the Deutschmark was worth. People wallpapered their bathrooms and houses with Deutschmarks and used it for toilet paper.
To stay warm, right? Just to,
Same way in World War II.
yeah.
The cloud-capped towers, the gorgeous palaces,
Yeah,
the
it's
solemn
funny.
temples.
Like I was just telling there's a sweet old lady I work with, and once a week we're alone on the night shift. And she's up front and I'm in the back. And we don't really talk much, but last night she was yapping about Iran, and I was like, yeah, you know my favorite part, like I'm not like here cheering about bombs dropping on Israel. There's people who are like that. They're like, oh, you know, look what you get for all of this and that. And I'm like, the scales of the universe are gonna balance themselves one way or another. There's no point cheering about it. Yeah, but what I enjoyed was watching the billionaires in their skyscrapers in Dubai getting rocked. Because I'm like, you thought you were safe from the wars you were messing around with? You're playing games with your money and evading taxes. And a bunch of rich pedophiles hiding out in Dubai. And then they're up in their skyscrapers like, it's not supposed to be like this. They told us it was safe here and now we can't leave. And I'm like,
It was safe here until it wasn't.
yeah, you know, and I'm like, oh man, it's funny because one of them is Andrew Tate, and he's in trouble. And he's been abusing women all around the world, and he'll get in trouble and then run out of the country and then flee somewhere else, and he's hiding in Dubai after getting beat up in a boxing match because he wanted to become a boxer at 40 years old. Like, real good idea, bro. Right when you come over the hill, you're gonna get into the biggest, the hardest combat sport that is like the most impactful in the smallest area. But you're gonna take the most damage in your head. But so he got jacked up. He fled to Dubai to recover, and now he's in the bunker hiding from missiles. And I was just like, oh, that's beautiful. And but you can't pay anybody enough to fly in or out of there right now because all the jets, all the planes are getting
Well,
shot
I
down.
think they closed the airspace, so the airport's on
Is a
the
sure
line.
way to blind
No,
yourself.
but they're cowboys with planes, you know, who are like, but you can't even pay a cowboy with a plane to fly into
Well,
Dubai.
it's because the airspace is
Growing up that
closed.
slowly
Yeah.
applied the brakes to learning.
Yeah, well, I mean, I'm talking about people that don't care.
Of things
Like,
I
but yeah,
know.
being closed, it
Then
means that
there are long stretches of pavement out there in the desert.
It was not growing up that slowly applied the brakes to learning, but an accumulation
they'd have to,
of things I
dodge
know.
bullets
All
and rockets
else,
and
the Mentat must be a
anti-aircraft
generalist,
not just like
not a
guns, but like
specialist.
machinery, you
It
know,
is wise to
like
have
the whole
decisions of
dome
great
systems
moment
that they
monitored by
design.
generalists.
And they'd have to
Experts
have
and
a ridiculous
specialists
amount of
lead you
information
quickly
to
into
know
chaos.
exactly where it's
They are a
safe
source
to
of
slip and
useless
slide into that
nitpicking.
concrete strip.
The ferocious quibble
I was
over a
telling
comma.
Miss Liz at work, when I flew into the UAE,
Mentat
into
generalist,
Dubai,
on the other hand,
is that
should
a lot of
bring to
people are
decision
like,
making
oh,
a
I'm
healthy
gonna go to
common
Iraq
sense.
and
He
we're gonna
must
fly
not cut
through
himself off
Turkey.
from the
And
broad
I'm like,
sweep
that's a
of what is
terrible
happening
idea.
in his
That's one of the
universe.
most militarily aggressive
He must
countries in
remain
the world.
capable of saying,
It's the second largest army in
there's
NATO.
no real
And
mystery about
their
this at the
intelligence
moment.
agency is
This
just
is what we want
hyper-aggressive.
now. It may
They
prove
are
wrong
known
later,
for going
but
out
we'll
and,
correct that when we
they
come
will
to
find
it.
somebody who like
Thinking you
was
knew
like,
something
this
is a
political
sure way to
situation
blind
bothers me.
yourself.
And then
Thinking
their
you knew
version of the
something
Fed
is a
pops up and
sure
was
way
like,
to
yeah, we should
blind
make a
yourself.
bomb
It was
about it.
not growing up
And,
that slowly applied the
and
brakes to
Turkish
learning,
intelligence is known
but an
for entrapping people
accumulation
like that and
of
locking
things
that
I
guy and all of his
know.
friends up.
Things I know.
And
And they used
It
a
was
couple
not
of
growing up that
these
slowly applied the brakes to learning, but an accumulation of things
they-
I know.
well,
You
it's
must
so
understand
expensive
that
that
anything which
you'll
we
be
can
reading a
identify
random
as our
science fiction
universe
novel,
is
and they
merely
talk about
part
Turkish
of larger
military
phenomena.
and the brutal aggressiveness of Turkish
But the
military
expert looks backward.
intelligence agency. And I'm just
He
like,
looks into the narrow
wow,
standards of his
reading
own
this novel,
specialty. The
this thing
generalist
pops up
looks
and
outward.
I've experienced some of this.
He looks for living
But,
principles, knowing
we were
full
talking
well
about
that
how
such
when I
principles
flew over
change, that they
into
develop.
the UAE, you're looking through the
It
window
is to
into
the
the desert.
characteristics of change
can feel
itself
the
that the
heat.
Mentat
And
generalist must look. There can be no permanent catalog of such change, no handbook or manual.
And you can see these driveways
You
that
must
are
look
like
at it with as
highways
few
going out into the
preconceptions
middle
as
of
possible,
nowhere, and there are these
asking
bright
yourself,
green oases in the middle of the desert,
now what
surrounded by giant
is
fences
this
and
thing
walls,
doing?
and there's a constant stream of sprinklers, right? And it's green, it's like a golf course,
Something
and
is
there's
a
a bunch
sure
of
way
pools
to
and
blind
a bunch of
yourself.
houses, and
You
you can see
something
like
is a
the
sure way
cages where
to
they
blind
keep the
yourself. It was not
photographers
growing
and
up
the
that slowly
tigers and
applied the
shit,
brakes to
and
learning,
you're just like,
but
man,
an
and like a fleet
accumulation
of vehicles,
of things
and it's
I
just this one
know.
dude's house out there. And there's a bunch of those scattered around the desert around the guy. And then you get into the
It was
city,
not
and
growing
it's
up
just
that
like this
slowly
hidden
applied the
paradise
brakes to
in the
learning,
middle of
but
nowhere.
an accumulation
When
of
the
things
war shuts
I
off
know.
the utilities because people are going to maliciously target the pipage and the roads and make it impossible for them to keep pumping clean water in and out of there. And all that stuff's going to die. And all those people are going to be like, wait a minute, I'm trapped in the middle of the desert in a hot
Well,
water.
I would bet good money they have their own laws.
Yeah.
And the ability to get electricity.
I mean, that would be the smart thing, but what the next thing would be like, let's spend a bunch of money just like making it impossible for the Cords to come out here on foot and bother us.
Well, I'm sure they've done that. You know, it's like the cartels. It's basically a dead zone around their haciendas and stuff. Yeah.
I didn't know.
Only thing in there is the security patrols. They don't
Are you happy? It's a
people
difficult
coming
question.
and going. I'm sure they're
I'm not searching for
paranoid
happiness.
of military
I'm searching for peace.
intervention
Yeah.
or other cartels sending in hit squads and
My state of what
I didn't know and I saw these videos recently of they're beefing with the government.
if that's happiness,
You know, they've got like drone jammers on their body armor
something
kit.
must fall.
And
If
I
you
was
can
like,
attain
that's
something,
really neat. That's interesting. You know,
there's
like
something to lose.
that's a very advanced. I was
That's why it's
surprised.
difficult.
I've
That's why
seen
I stopped
FBI
the
SWAT
moment.
teams
I
use
don't
less
know
fancy
what type of
equipment.
happiness
You know,
you mean. I'm not searching for
so
happiness.
I'm like, wow, these guys are their own government. But it makes me
I'm
wonder,
searching for peace.
because you hear stories about like there's like honor among thieves type thing, and they have their own codes. And I saw some of that when I was locked up. Like I saw like these guys, you know, they police themselves, the gangs, and if somebody is like on drugs, they're compromised right away. But then if they're on drugs and they go into debt, they just get stabbed. You know, they're just like, nope, we're not going to tolerate you in the community anymore. And I was like, oh, wow. And then, you know, they have paperwork parties where if somebody's a creep, if they're some kind of like child molester or sex offender, they're not going to exist very long.
No.
You know, like, and
well, see, that's something today.
I'm not searching for happiness.
Hegseth and Miller compared the cartels to ISIS and what was the organization that Big Tall Saudi government is in the Taliban. They compare the cartels to
Are you a peace?
ISIS
Oh, yes.
and Taliban terrorists.
yeah.
Now, we're talking about prominent U.S. Power figures that have just
Declared war.
declared war on the cartels, which are very
Fear is the
Catholic.
mind killer.
Because that's what they are down there. It's Catholicism 101.
Yeah.
I must not fear.
And
Fear is the mind killer.
the blatant stupidity, but these fucking worthless assholes that are posturing like
I
they're
must not
untouchable.
fear. Fear is the mind killer.
Well, guess what?
Death that brings total annihilation. I will face my fear. I will
Them
permit it to
guys
pass over me
have
and
the
through
money,
me.
the influence,
And
the power.
the spare time. You know,
Well-
they will make a point just
If
to.
you threaten the cartels as a whole, the thing I see happening is the same thing that happened with Kennedy.
Oh yeah.
They damn sure reached out and touched Kennedy, didn't they?
Somebody did, yeah, like, and that's.
You know who it was? Two options. Mafia or the government itself.
Yeah, I heard he was talking about busting open a big corruption thing.
Well, that was his brother. Well, we're talking about John F.
Yeah.
You know, part of the Bay of Pigs was about getting Cuba back for the mob. Because
Because it was like the
when
mob-
Castro took over there, he ran all the mob out, and they had massive holdings down there with their casinos and stuff.
I heard the casinos, like it was like Cuba was a big casino and it was like a brothel for businessmen traveling through the Caribbean,
Yeah.
basically.
All over the world, it was Epstein 101.
Yeah. And you're sad to lose all that.
So here we got two American officials postured, calling them terrorists
And like people think,
and bad mouthing their religion. More importantly, that's really what's gonna get them in trouble.
I read Blood in My Eye by George Jackson, like a real revolutionary Black Panther type
Yeah.
guy. And he talks about this one politician pissing him off because he's racist and, you know, a corrupt cop type situation. And he was saying that he, George Jackson, would bum his way up to that guy's city and take him out. And people don't get that the world is not that big. You don't need money even to travel around if you just hitchhike and beg. I've been all around the world doing things like that, just, you know, traveling with little to no money and just, you know, depending on people's kindness. And if somebody were of that mind, they could easily go to a place, and then you're talking about the cartel with all the resources, and you can just walk in almost anywhere all around the world. There's very few places where, you know, like when I was locked up, there was a corrupt warden, and they replaced him with another guy who was like a little less corrupt, from what I understand. This is all rumors. But one thing I know did happen is somebody went up on a billboard outside of the prison with a high-power rifle and put a bullet through the new warden's window into the wall right above his chair, right above his chair back reaches. You know, it's like either, I don't know if he was in there and they took a shot at him or if they were just making a point. And it's bulletproof glass and it went through, you know, and they locked everything down.
Armor piercing at the end.
And when we were going to lunch, we would walk in a circle to the chow hall and then back to the unit. And we'd all look up and be like, look at that, you know. And we all had a big laugh about it. But, you know, it was one of those things that you realize the world's a small place and there's a lot of people that have these basic skills. And, yeah, it's crazy that they would want to poke that bear. And they talk about it too. The cartel guys would be like, you know, be respectful. Don't talk shit on the internet about the cartel because they will go out and get people. There's a bunch of videos of them executing people in very painful ways because that person was just talking shit about the cartel. And it's just being disrespectful, and that's enough. That's all it takes. I think what's happening right now is dudes don't understand because they've been in the bubble of the safety net of the, like, suckling Uncle Sam's teeth for so
About
long.
sucking Donald Trump and dick.
Yeah, you know, and
Because they
that's
think they're untouchable because of his manly aura. And they're so manly too, right? Well, guess what?
everybody's manly until
Every one of you dumbass motherfuckers goes out to eat at restaurants.
yeah, you know,
I own yours.
and that's all it takes is like
I own yours.
You know,
I could go out.
the baby.
You know, I might have to. It might be really sloppy, with a bomb, or give some bum's family $1 million, strap his vest on, and go get him.
Yeah, and
You know, say he's got terminal cancer, he's gonna die.
they talk about the Moscow rules. Like, always assume everyone you interact with is being coerced against their will to put you in a situation where you destroy your will. And from that mindset, people are like, okay, I'm not going to say or do anything to get me in trouble. But it makes you think about a lot of people are being coerced against their will to hurt other people.
Did you see the guy that threatened or bragged that he was going to assassinate Trump?
No.
It's been on the browser lately, but they caught this. He looks like an Arab, some kind of Arab. Well, he's just come out and said Iran made me do it.
Yeah.
So they got their thumb on his family.
That was him trying to find a safe way out of the situation.
Or, and he didn't do anything,
Yeah.
but he talked,
And because somebody,
and apparently wanted to do.
well,
Or was compelled to do.
if Iran snatched up his family and was like, if you don't do this, we're gonna do that. And maybe in his mind he's thinking, if I get arrested for talking about doing it, they might let my family go. And, so these kind of situations.
Good.
But,
Because that would require deep thought. You'd have to really be seen for yourself.
I've just seen people do stuff like that in prison. They would be like, somebody is pressing them to go stab somebody or something, and instead of doing that, they get really high on drugs, which they got from the guards, and they make a big scene in the middle of the common area so that they get tackled, and they're clean up. But as soon as the cops put them in cuffs, they're just like normal again. And you're like, okay, so he was trying to go to the
He
hole.
got what he wanted.
He was trying to go to the hole so that he could avoid whatever situation he was in. Because somebody was trying to make him attack somebody, or he had a debt of drugs to somebody who's maybe about to get out, and he thinks he can avoid all that, and there's everything's so complicated. But what I was saying earlier was, these guys don't understand the domino effect of picking a war with Iran, because it's not like Iran. It's not like bullying a terrorist organization, but it is in a lot of ways similar to Afghanistan. It's just that Afghanistan on steroids, where there's a lot of ideologically minded people who don't like each other, but they don't like the U.S. government even more.
They don't like outsiders.
Yeah, and they're willing to unite, or at least fight amongst themselves in a battle royale while fighting against the U.S. government.
Well, they'll pause. They'll pause everything, get a common enemy.
Yeah,
The enemy of
yeah.
my friend is mine.
And it's not just Arabs too, it's Persians. And so
Oh,
Persians,
that's just it. They're Persians. They're not Arabs.
and that's a whole different kind of honor system.
Well, they have a long and storied history.
Yeah, and they're very proud of it.
That's
And
right.
and most Americans my age and younger don't understand that the U.S. government created the current situation there for the previous meddling, and the Iran-Contra situation and all of this stuff leading up to now,
Well,
and they haven't studied it.
Saddam Hussein was America's boy
Yeah.
until he wasn't.
There he was, just like Osama bin Laden.
So, no, man, there's an old curse. And the curses make you live in interesting times.
Yeah. Oh, I've heard that a lot.
Well, we've been cursed.
Yeah. It's a series of historical moments that I'd rather not. But that safety net mindset is really a terrible hindrance, because they don't understand the domino effect of okay, Iran is getting military support from China. They're getting intelligence streamed to them on a regular basis, on a constant basis. So you mess with Iran, you're messing with China and their billion-man army, and then
China's not going to do anything to military.
I mean, not outside their borders. They're smart. they're gonna stay in.
Well, they're biding their time. They're
Yeah.
going after Taiwan.
They've got the 500-year plan, you know, like,
Exactly.
and they think in the long game, but they are, you know, willing and able to send resources and weapons and intelligence to Iran, North Korea, Russia, and that's what they've been doing, is like using Russia as a proxy, you know, to draw the U.S. into a foreign war that's unwinnable. And since the U.S. pulled out of Ukraine, they're like, oh well, you know, they're sensitive about the Middle East, let's do that one next. And they're really clever. But a lot of people feel like Trump has been compromised by the Epstein files, and Russia has the parts that they're not releasing. And they're like, well, look, you're going to exhaust the U.S. military resources.
Russia has dirt on
Yeah, and that's like, it's like common knowledge all around the world for people who look into it or think about it.
They actually know where the tapes are.
And you can see that, like, he's intentionally exhausting the ammunition resources, from missiles to bullets, all the way down to the frontline soldier. To
Same thing as he's doing with money.
yeah. And then the U.S. is going to be weakened and easily, you know, it might not even need to be invaded.
No, we'll be really toothless.
But like, because I don't think any
When you think to
intelligent
take the
nation state
determination
would
of
want
your
to
fate
invade
into
the
your
US.
own hands, that
But you
is
don't
the
have to
moment you can be
invade it to
crushed.
make it